What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk, episode 41. My name is William Kale from Coinigy.com, and we have a dog in the background. I'm actually, as you can see, I have a new backdrop. I'm at my buddy Matt's house, and his dog Marley is apparently sniffing around for something. So welcome. As usual, we have Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor. How are you doing tonight, Brian?
Great, awesome. Having a party in crypto, party.
Yep, right on. And Alex, the all-seeing eye, Sterk.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm just dealing with some temperamental internet problems, but things could be worse.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, we got a great show for everybody scheduled tonight. So, I've kind of noticed, we were just talking about this right before the show started. Somebody tweeted at us basically a ton of altcoins have been kind of going down, 3 to 5 to 7 to 10%. But Brian actually said he's been kind of breaking out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I would say treading water. And of course, we run our little here. I guess I'll show you it here. See if I can do this. Am I going to blow up my computer? All right. So here's our little crypto portfolio. And we've been bumping around. We've been as high as 6,500. We dipped back below 5,000, or 6,000 for a bit. But on balance, we've just been sort of treading water comfortably above $6,000 here for a while. And keep in mind, though, and the irony of it all is that I actually tried desperately during these times to reduce my Bitcoin holding and start buying into the names that have just been beaten up. But I can't seem to break the 3 Bitcoin mark here, 33% of our portfolio. Every time I go and buy something, I have one of these coins pop up. So you can see we had some great fun this past week in Archcoin. The old Moby play, it jumped up on us, and a whole bunch of us in the community just banged off a whole bunch of doubles on this one. So yeah.
So you just told me about that just now, and that blows my mind. So what's the story there?
I don't know. What the fuck would I know?
Well, what I've heard in one of the chats is there's this guy, ICO Countdown. He runs a service where he kind of provides information, very similar to Block Talk, doing interviews and whatnot. And he was saying he wants to, I guess, take over Arch because he likes the code for it and he wants the established market on Bittrex. So for those who don't know, the wallet has like a couple tabs that are unlocked based on how many coins you own. So I imagine he's going to use that with some sort of information or something. But it still needs to be flushed out. But that's kind of the reason for the spike. This guy, I don't know, maybe he was just accumulating at the bottom and running his own hype thing, or maybe he actually wants to kind of rebrand Arch to do something different.
So
that's crazy. So the original guy just
what was the original
up and vanished?
Name? What was his name?
Edgar Soares. He's still, or he goes by BTC Architect on Twitter, but he still tweets and whatnot. But I think everyone just kind of ignores him or doesn't take him seriously anymore. He really tarnished his entire reputation by what happened with Archcoin.
Well, I mean, this was, and it, I'm used, but I mean, look at this, guys. This is the definition of dying 1,000 deaths in the market, eh?
Wow.
And interestingly enough, like one of the very first conversations I had with Alex was when this thing was right up top here. And it was interesting. Basically, that was the end of the story. It's kind of sad, really. And then Brian, if you look at it from this perspective, it kind of makes sense why we could get little hiccups down in here. But the good part about it is that, if you're hunting along here playing little bottoms and just working your bids against lows, every once in a while this kind of treat happens, and you basically, like I pointed out, I mean, we're just taking profits. We get the orders working, we just market moves. in a lot of my posts, I always put, if they, quote unquote, wish to take prices higher, then I will be more than happy to spoon feed them more coins. So I don't know what the fundamental reason is. It sounds to me like it was a little bit of maybe just fluff. Maybe the market was just so egregiously oversold it needed to bounce. I don't know. But the long and short of it here is I'm here to make money from trading. And so I went and bought, and I worked my orders to sell at my levels, and I got nice trades off.
Right on.
I was surprised, like Bittrex is probably going to put a warning on it for low volume. You can see a couple of those candles there.
They did. They in fact.
So maybe that's a little bit of a catalyst, huh?
Yeah, and I think there was a major warning, and I was watching that quite closely. I like to put on my little moving average, and I do my little tweets. Hey, if Bitrex wants this and it's done that, then it should be okay. I've heard that really it's almost kind of just like a decision that they decide if they don't want it, they're just going to toast it. I don't know. I mean, that whole issue I think is still up in the air a bit. Anyway, you slice it. When I saw that they had done as much volume as Bitrex said that they needed to do, I was comfortable with going and buying. That's actually why I did buy down in here.
Right on.
But you know,
yeah, almost to me that almost looks like somebody got their account hacked or something, and somebody was just dumping. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That
you mean
pattern
down in here? This
no, I mean the giant green bar. Like,
here.
If there's no fundamental catalyst to that, it just.
Well, you know, you can get situations. You know, keep in mind that the market had just been moving down here, right? So the market had been lulled into sort of a sense of complacency. Those that had sell, so you know, where that thinking we're selling, maybe just ended up just hitting the bid and just panic dumping and getting out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we actually looked at the order book when the market was down here. It was probably pretty thin. And I wouldn't be surprised some people just said, you know, if we can just pop this up a bit, we might be able to get some inertia here. And I wouldn't be surprised if the guys that were buying down here to save it from the Bitrex delisting were taking profits up here so that they could pay themselves.
Yeah, that huge green bar might actually be really low volume, right?
Yeah, and then, you know, of course, and I've told you guys this repeatedly, if we had volume profile, then we could actually determine where the volume traded on that bar. We might find that the profile is just like really thick right down here, and this is where all the volume traded, and this was just fluff. This was just Brian getting his sell orders filled. Right?
I like the casual volume profile mention.
There you go. But, you know, and before we started recording, we were also, you know, there are other names. And this is what I love about running a diversified portfolio is that, you know, we can go through these seasonal periods where things are kind of sanguine. There's just not much going on. And all the old darlings that everybody was in love with are just, you know, just slowly, you know, melting down. But when you run a nice diversified portfolio, you get treats like this. Why in hell did this happen? I don't know. But, you know, I basically am long off the bottom, work my orders, and boom, 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 getting more doubles off here. So, you know, it speaks to you have to, you know, be active in watching your order book. And I do like sites like Bitrex where you can keep a nice running open order book. It makes my life a lot easier. And ironically enough, half the time I don't even, you know, there's after the fact we find out that, oh yeah, Titcoin, they're planning on doing, you know, a promotion or something like that, and it explains why the coin ran up. But by time that actually becomes public knowledge, usually the trade's over. So you got to have your orders working. So there was also another one. Oh darn! A bunch of guys in the lounge got off a whole bunch of doubles. I want to say CPC or PCP or something like that. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
PCP.
I don't know. Maybe if anybody in the lounge is watching.
I think you were pretty happy though with VIA, Brian. VIA.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that one treated us really well previously. Let's see what she's doing now. I thought I started to see her perking up here. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, not a bad little bottom. Problem is that, you know, this could be a little FU and they could come down and wash these lows. No, I mean, it's encouraging in this kind of environment to see this, thank heavens. I don't like the fact that they left a little gap here. I think there's some unfinished business here, but not a bad looking little coin.
Some interesting knowledge behind this one, Brian. A good friend of yours, Romano, has actually taken over development of this coin, and
oh no. Well, a very good friend. You're right, Alex. That's probably the best way to phrase that. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I had a chance to speak with him when I was in Amsterdam. We hung out and partaked in the local amenities, and yeah, no, it was a good chat. I think the two of you guys are definitely ready to kind of mend whatever ties, but. No,
you know, I mean, I have so many people coming in and out of my life that everybody gets the benefit of the doubt, and if they lose that benefit of the doubt by doing something, then I really don't have time. You know, I mean, the irony of it all is we got another term of the school coming up, and basically it sold out 2 months ahead of the damn start date. And I got a whole community of people, so I can't really, you know, get too wrapped up in individual relationships. I wish him all the best, and I hope he does well. But that's probably as far as I'll take the relationships.
Hey, if it's any consolation, Brian, I don't think Romano likes Coinigy either. So,
yeah, you know,
I really don't know why, but
well, I mean, the way I would
some people just like shooting daggers on Twitter.
The way I look at it is you actually have to have something wrong with you if you can't get along with Alex. So it makes sense that Alex is friends with everybody. I mean, he's one of just the nicest guys I've ever met.
Oh, thanks, I have a couple enemies.
I'll second that.
But I'm not. You know, I'm the type of person that you either really like me or maybe not so much. And that's fine. I can live with it. I'm at a stage in my life where I don't really need to worry too much about that. So it makes sense that Alex and what I think I tweeted about this recently. What I love about Alex is he's on a first name basis with like all the exchange operators, every coin. He's on like a first name basis. If you want to get the inside pulse on crypto, just talk to Alex. I mean, it's incredible. We're so fortunate to have him in this little show. So thank you so much for indulging me, Alex.
I'll second that one as well.
Yeah,
come off camera and let you know that I'm giving you the thumbs up.
I'll apologize to my regular Block Talk viewers that I haven't had any shows quite recently, or there's been definitely a lot less. I've been keeping rather busy with kind of another project within crypto, something a little more oriented. But no, I'm really fortunate to have good friends and to be able to network so well and connect with a lot of awesome people in this space. So yeah, I do my best not to make enemies because you know you never really get ahead in life if you try and make an enemy out of everyone. And yeah, I've had some really cool news coming up here. Hopefully by the next show I can actually give more details, but I'll basically say right now that I'm officially being a community manager for Jumbucks, as well as some other roles for it, because we're trying to be a little more, I guess, serious.
Is that gonna make you an insider? And if so, then you can't even comment on that.
I don't think Alex can be any more insider.
Yeah,
no, that's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Well, congratulations. Good for you. Is that a promotion? Can we call that a promotion?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
No, we're doing a swap. So Brian, you're gonna notice that your JBS is gonna be something different.
Oh no!
In the next 2 weeks, it's gonna have 10 times more value or 10 times more coins. Sorry, it'd be nice if it had 10 times more value. We'll see.
Well, just bringing you on board will give it 10 times more value, right?
Well, hey, don't take an hour to explain it, but you know, I've been following what I pick up in the Jumbuck Slack, but I still have no idea what's going on with JBS. Can you like explain a little bit?
Essentially, we're going to be the first coin moving from the Bitcoin code base to Ethereum code base. So that will allow us to do smart contracts. Like we're going to be more than just a store of value. We're actually going to be able to have applications built on our chain very easily. And it's not just that we're taking, the Ethereum code on its own, because there's already been clones like that have been attacked. So one thing that we've done is we forked the code and actually made some improvements to it, like difficulty readjustment. So it will be a lot more secure in a smaller state. Like we can manage having a smaller hash rate. So we're essentially looking to be like Ethereum, but have one, a better monetary supply, and two, I guess more stability in terms of updates. Because right now Ethereum forks quite regularly in order to.
I've noticed.
Yeah, how would that fork affect you? And actually, I was thinking about just going and buying some Ethereum so I get the free fork coins.
Well, the fork probably won't affect. I mean, you guys started out with Ethereum's code base, right? At some point.
And we've been delaying until this next fork, because hopefully the issues with the virtual machine, like the guts of it, are going to be corrected. And then we're going to launch on that. And we're probably going to stay with a very similar code base for at least a year. We're gonna stay proof of work for a year. Like Ethereum's going proof of stake in the very near future. So we're not gonna try and run like a crazy DAO program, and we're not.
Yeah, I'd say avoid that for a little while.
And yeah.
And as your bank to the future guy says, make sure there's some sort of utility to your coin, right?
Oh, and that's always been our goal, right? We don't want it to just be a speculative asset. We actually want it to have a use case, and the use case will provide the value. So that's been our main goal, is not to be, a valuable coin, is to actually be a coin that's useful for something.
Yeah, it's been kind of cool to just watch. I mean, I was in coin markets, way back in the day, and it's been cool to just watch the evolution of it, going from, we're just going to create a fun little coin, to, what other kind of useful things can we attach to it, and now taking the big step basically to essentially rewrite the code base.
And you can see,
cool.
Just on your chart, you can see the battle lines on your coin are being drawn here, right? You can feel the wedge is coiling. So you can literally see in the market, D-Day is coming. there will be an ultimate resolution to this coil.
Well, the unfortunate thing, though, I think, is we will be, since we're swapping, we're actually going to have a new chart after the swap. At least, I don't know if Coinigy will port it over with a new ticker. That'd be kind of interesting, actually.
We will. That's one of the many features that we have built in for us admins, so not a problem.
All right, but on Bittrex, I believe Julian, I think, is his plan to have it start off as a brand new chart. So it'll be kind of interesting to see the contrast of on Bittrex versus the actual history of it. But I
hope they don't do one of those first single nutso candles, though. That's just gonna fuck everything up.
Well, here's the thing, though, is we are changing the coin supply. So if you own one JBS, you will get 10 UBQ, which is going to be our new ticker. The coin is going to be called UBIC, as in like ubiquitous, that sort of thing.
So you're diluting it. Isn't that interesting?
Pretty awesome name, by the way.
Everyone's getting equal shares, right?
Yeah, there's just going to be a lot more supply of this thing out there.
So instead of 3.6 million, we're going to have 36 million.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good number. Pre-mined?
Well, right now it's proof of stake.
Is it going to be pre-mined?
Oh no! Like we're taking all the value from like all the coins over, and we're changing from proof of stake back to proof of work. So now that's one of the reasons we went for this choice too. We're gonna have a better distribution of coins. Now the new coins coming on the market and are not going to people who already own the coin. They're going to people who mine. So in our mind, this is going to help actually distribute coins a lot better, because now you don't need to sign up for Bittrex to get coins. You can actually just join the network and mine and participate. It's a different way of actually participating in the coin.
So what kind of like algorithm is involved? I mean, are people going to be able to bust out their radions?
Yeah, like it's going to have the standard Ethereum code. Like you're going to be able to mine it. We already have a couple mining pools that are very interested because, like, a lot of people are actually kind of or not happy with Ethereum because of the fork, because of Classic, because of all these random little things. Yes, it actually is good technology, at least in our mind, but we think we can be, no ICO, no pre-mine, and no hacks. So we're going to have, all those benefits over the Ethereum network.
So why would Ethereum be hackable, but yours not?
Well, what we're saying is, okay, so the Ethereum, since they did the fork, there no longer is a hack. So now they don't have immutability, and then Ethereum Classic still has the hack, or the exploit. Sorry, the DAO exploit.
Right.
So that's.
Oh, that's what you meant. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So like on the Ethereum Classic chain, someone has like 10% of the supply that they essentially, quote unquote, stole or took illegitimately, but that's kind of one of the benefits we're trying to push over Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So
I wouldn't mind asking you, Alex, just on sort of a philosophical approach, because we started off this whole thing going everybody's POW, and then a couple of years ago we made this shift to POS. How do you think that evolution of that battle is going? I'm kind of hearing that the tide's moving back over to POW.
I think that there's a lot of new launches that are proof of work, and like Ethereum's planning on going back to proof of stake. We're going to examine that in a year, but I think there's going to be room for both, and there's benefits to both. You'll hear some of the Bitcoin maximalists say, "Oh, proof of stake is not a blockchain." Like there is no proof of work. Like if you read the white paper by Satoshi, he specifies proof of work. So that's where you kind of get that kind of philosophical battle that way. But the way I want to put it simply is it's permission. Like you need to have someone sell you coins in order to participate in the network. So proof of stake is a permission blockchain where proof of work, anyone can come on the network and mine with more hash rate and make their own blocks. So in that way, it's permissionless.
Interesting. Okay, I mean, I always like to see the evolution of this battle. I'm hearing some people are like, well, we're going to do a hybrid now, some POS, some POW. So I just I wanted if anybody to ask sort of what the status of this debate is, you're probably the guy I'd want to ask. So.
Well, there's actually a really good hybrid that you were talking about today on Twitter, Decred.
Actually, and that's probably a good segue. It's a really interesting looking little chart.
So, yeah, I think it's looking good now, but this is again a long-term looking coin. This has the same monetary or economic kind of plan as Bitcoin does. Like you're talking about 21 million coins, 50 coins every 10 minutes. So you're looking at
a correct number we're looking at here?
Yep, that looks like it's right.
No, okay. I know that I don't know. I seem to remember that you were kind of optimistic about this story. And did you talk to these guys over the summer on Block Talk?
No, these guys are pretty low key. I brought up doing an interview with them before, and they're kind of like, they don't want to be like the hype guys. They're kind of just slowly working away. And I think they kind of view this as a long-term project too.
Yeah. Okay. I seem to remember I was somewhat interested in this trading range here. And you can see that, something significant happened right here through, I guess, about, what is that, mid-September. And you can see that, volume broke, momentum broke, price broke. I think the market was trying to form some sort of channel. And it was interesting, I didn't quite see who it was, but somebody said they kind of thought they saw sort of a new range trying to be established on this coin. And it seems to me that, if we zoom in on this big honkin' doji here, that seems to have defined the range for the time being. Me and M's and W's, I like this kind of constructive action. And what I also like, and this is one of the core tenets that I teach in my program, is if we can try and find some sort of signs of internal strength, even though price continues to head lower, you'll notice that on this MACD histogram study, we actually made higher lows on the momentum reading, and now we're trying to break out through the top here. This is your classic divergence scenario. Still think it's potential, but this might be confirmed. Let's see. We're right up against this really important level here. So you can see that short-term momentum-wise, if we can just get some sort of push here, that might actually turn the story for these guys. So that's encouraging. And of course, me, I always love to buy near bottoms or ranges, sort of unlike disdain markets. I don't know whether we can believe this candle. No, it's down to 0. So that's, I don't think that's usable. But I actually did do a little bit of nibbling, and I had a buy program working. I was doing an extension trade where I just sort of identified this previous range. But I don't, maybe I was buying off the 1618 here. I love this 1618 level. It's so sexy. I think I did a little bit of buying. So actually it kind of makes sense why the market is so jittery down in here. So, somebody had asked about this one, and I've been saying, I did a little old lady nibbling in here. I don't know whether the story is for real or not, but I do like, how the momentum indicators were dramatically washed out, and they're starting to try and turn here. You don't really have a serious turn in volume just yet, but you can see the smatterings. She's trying to. For me to really know that the bull's at the wheel, if you will, is I want to see higher green bars here let's make sure we have this on right. Scale left. There we go. So I want to see more buyers come in here. I don't like the fact that this volume bar here, that was, where is that number? 13,000. This volume bar here, 14,000, right? I would prefer to see rising volume bars. So, and then also too, the last thing we should throw in here is just simple seasonality. I've been playing the Bitcoin game now for 4 years. And I've noticed that 3 out of the 4 years we have seen Bitcoin seems to enjoy moving up through the period of November. And because a lot of the prices that we're looking at here are denominated in Bitcoin, I see a lot of altcoin weakness here. And the irony of it all is it may not be the Decred in this particular case that does structurally look like there's some sort of problem here. But in a lot of these coins, we're seeing just soft prices, because they just need to stay level. If Bitcoin is moving 10, 15, 20% up, then they have to come down in price. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in altcoin land. But also too, keep in mind that we're coming into the tax loss selling season. If you have any sort of capital gains implications, and now we're starting to talk about some serious money. Your bank to the future guys, they're not dealing in $20 trades, are they? They're dealing in some serious sizes. So I think that capital gains and loss issues, that Ethereum deal was like $100 million, right? So I do believe that this market and the venture cap market in general is very susceptible to these seasonal forces. The question ultimately here is, can you take advantage of that? When I was a penny stockbroker, this was our sort of sweet spot to buy. But you got to understand that everybody around you is just so depressed and prices are really weak, and all they're talking about is selling assets at losses to claim capital loss.
Brian, are you saying that crypto people pay taxes? That doesn't seem right.
Well, I would say that if we're talking $20, $50, just monkeying around in the market, no. But if we're starting to talk about bringing serious money, that Ethereum deal, hundreds of millions of dollars, if you even did, say, 500 grand worth of that and took advantage of those free coins offerings, which I remember back in the spring, I said, there are people in the world that are just going to take this free 20% and just walk away right after the deal's done.
Yeah, to
Well,
add to that too, I mean, I've personally actually met with quite a few Coinigy customers actually in the last couple of weeks, and I mean, we're seeing a lot more people kind of in Brian's age group. No offense, but it's really interesting. I mean, just getting into crypto. One of the folks that I talked to last Friday, he has a Series 7, kind of just runs a group of traders here in Milwaukee, and they're all interested and they want to know where the heck to dive in. And
it's coming.
and the BTC
really
rise is really interesting too, because you got to think about it. The technically the value of alts may go down temporarily, but that means that more people are entering the market, and when they enter, they go right for BTC. They buy Bitcoin, and the price goes up. So I think that is starting to potentially.
And what are they? Yeah. And what is after they've owned Bitcoin a while, and maybe Bitcoin,
yeah, exactly, and then they go, I need to diversify a little bit.
Exactly, they go, well, what can I do with this Bitcoin other than maybe buying a pizza? Well, there's this whole world of altcoins that are all quoted in Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
After about a month, Bitcoin gets a little boring, and then you go, wait a second, what are some of these other stories?
Yeah, what's that shiny thing over there? What's that shiny thing over there? Yeah. So, and what I find is that, they say the more things change, the more they stay exactly the same. I'm seeing a lot of sort of very repetitive behavior here. I know there's a big part of the crypto community that really doesn't like the fact that I'm here, that I'm trading this, and the writing on the walls is that more of that kind of money is coming into this space. But that's just brutal reality, and that is sort of the capitalist framework, is open and free markets. So, this is it's to be expected, and somebody posted, I thought it was either Not So Fast or Crypto Gambler. I love reading those guys' tweets. Somebody put out a tweet saying, this news is more bullish than this GIF. And did you guys see that? It was like a bull running through a kitchen or something like that. And it was
no, but it sounds good.
I could show you it. It was funny. And it was the news that Donald Trump had appointed one of his one of sort of Bitcoin's founding principles to his transition team. And it was a cute little tweet. Here it is. Here, it was Gambler, right? He goes, "This news is more bullish than this gift." What's going on here? What's good? Holy shit, there's a bull. You never seen that before?
Nice.
Anyway, that's funny. So,
and I thought I've seen every GIF on the internet, but
and so like what could possibly be the news, right? And the news is that, and Alex, you probably know this guy by his first name, but this guy, Peter Thiel. Are you familiar with Peter Thiel, Alex?
I believe it's pronounced Teal, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it rings a bell. I'm trying to think where. I've read about it before, but I think he's one of the more prominent guys in terms of the regulatory space.
Yeah, he started PayPal along with Elon Musk. That's how everything came about way back in the day.
All right, so it's this kind of stuff that, hey, I'm not gonna fucking stand in front of Bitcoin right now. I mean, if it wants to face rip, it's got this crazy situation going on in India, where basically the government just said that these two currency bills are no longer worth anything, and it's created an absolute panic there. We've got the Chinese devaluation of their currency and the flows coming out of China. And they're trying to find a vehicle to use, and there's all that sort of, what's that effect on Bitcoin? So, Bitcoin right now has got a whole bunch of sort of wind at its back. And, we're in a really funny vacuum in the market right now. there really is no leadership in the U.S. government for the next month or two. So it's really actually a dangerous time in
Or
the
potentially
marketplace.
longer. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but the point here is that basically Obama is a lame duck, and Trump is in the process of being, put into place, but there isn't any leadership right at the moment. So as a result, this creates a funny little vacuum in the marketplace, and we can see some crazy ass shit happen through here. And we're seeing that, like you saw what happened in the U.S. stock market through that election. That's just absolute insanity. And I personally think it was just, there were talk of, in my courses, I have students read the Market Wizards books. And anybody who's watching this show and you want to sort of learn how professional traders act and behave, I highly encourage you to go get those series of books, the Market Wizards books by Jack Schwader. And in the book on page 75 of his first book, second novel, he interviews a guy named Druckenmiller. And he's a real big power hedge fund guy. And he was in there shorting gold the night that of the election. And gold, do you guys remember gold went shooting up like 50, 60 bucks? And then just collapsed right after that, So my hunch is that a lot of big players, a lot of big institutional players use that election event and all that crazy price action to really take big positions and move the market around.
Yeah, the Mexican Bitcoin market made a new all-time high. Well, because the peso changed like 10%, I think, during the election. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was the futures markets, right? I think futures just tanked election night.
Well, yeah, that election night, the stock futures actually, and what was really interesting, and this is a really interesting side to crypto. Remember the other day we were talking about that Zcash?
Yeah.
And it had, what the hell's the damn symbol again? ZEC, is it, I think?
Yeah.
ZEC. I wanted to ask Alex, too, what the heck ZECD is, but we can maybe save that for another show.
Okay, but I'll just make this quick reference. Remember we were saying on the show, and Alex was telling us, well, on BitMEX, their system only goes to 10 Bitcoin. And literally, it can't go any higher. Well, same sort of thing happened on the stock market in that the S&P futures were taken to the absolute limit that they would allow them to take down 5%, or I think it was 105 points or something. And literally, since the market couldn't go any further, trading was halted, that was the bottom of the market. And then the market just literally, just like this BitMEX futures contract on Zcoin, the market couldn't go any further, so which way did it go? It went the other direction. And that's exactly the same thing that happened on the stock market. So the irony of it all is that this crypto market is more like regular markets, and more regular markets are more like crypto than what a lot of crypto people would actually like to believe. I found that fascinating. Anyway.
Yeah, and for reference, if anybody didn't tune in last time, basically BitMEX, their futures markets only go to 10. That is the max, and this hit it.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah,
and this is this is like the Matrix. I always make references to the Matrix, where if you understand the system and you understand the frailties and the vulnerabilities of the system, you can bend the rules to your advantage. I think that this is a perfect example of Zcoin and BitMEX. If you had known that it could only go to 10, then at 9.999, what should you have been doing? Shorting the fuck out of it, right?
What if they change the rules?
Well, hey, right, okay.
I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Sam, because I do know Sam from BitMEX, and I got to ask him if that was like public knowledge prior to this or not.
Well,
I assume
Alex
they probably
did,
published
and
that
Alex
somewhere.
knows everything about crypto.
People were talking about it while it was happening, yeah. So I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess shit,
But
man.
anyway,
all your shorts at 9.999, and
yeah, I'm just trying to make an illustration here that if you understand how the system works, very much like Neo, you can actually sort of detach yourself from the system and look outside of it and understand its vulnerabilities and its frailties, you can take advantage of it and work it to your favor. And it doesn't matter whether it's crypto, it doesn't matter whether it's the stock market, it doesn't matter it's these fiat currencies. It's basically, you know, the frailties of our universe. So I challenge all of you to try and find some frailties of our universe and take advantage of them.
That just got real deep, Brian.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. Okay, why don't we pop on over to Bitcoin?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, a couple people were asking.
You probably, everybody here watching this probably remembers our little talk about the cup and handle and how that signal fired off of this I guess 614, 615 area. And the bot, which is a handy little way to trade trending markets, had its stop to break even level hit. And what's so cool is even in our lounge, I'm seeing students actually doing this. Oh, my bot to stop even break even level is hit. Great. I've got to scratch trade now at absolute worst. I'm feeling great. So that's one reason why I really love using the bot is once it hit this level, worst case scenario, you walk away at scratch. Big fucking deal. But in this case, and this is a great analogy, and this is the tweet that I put out here, half the time as traders, we simply need to have the patience and discipline to let the market do its thing. In this case, and you know, I did this sort of play by play because this was like the end of October, then all through November we got, or I guess, yeah, maybe the midpoint of October, then all through November we really haven't done anything, and now we're starting to accept higher here. Nobody really knew what was going to happen, but if you follow a very sort of algorithmic approach to your trading, then what ends up happening is your opinion is left aside and all you're doing is trading the setups. It relieves a massive amount of anxiety because your ego isn't involved. Oh, I was right. I'm a great person. Oh, I was wrong. I'm a poor person. All you're doing is just trading setups. Setup worked, setup didn't. Next bus in 10 minutes. What do I see now? I was actually kind of hoping that we would blast off through the top here and tag this 790 level so we could actually start talking about locking in profits. As it stands right now for those on Phoenix, and you know, I find it fascinating. Every time the market seems to get up into this gap area, it gets whacked back down. So I'm still sort of, you know, for those that are, you know, what's going to happen next, Brian? I'm still just basically, and this was the message we left last week off with, was if you're just going to trade the market on momentum, a break of this high is a continuation signal, and you could even draw little bot setups here and play the market higher. A break of this low is a failure of the range, and we probably have to come back down and swim down here. So we're still stuck in this trading range off the higher time frames. If you'll indulge me, Coinigy guys, please, you know, I happen to have this chart on TradingView, and this is what we're sort of watching in our lounge right now. In that I'm a big fan of AB equals CD pattern. So here is the AB CD. That's sort of that bot idea. And quite often we have harmonic AB equals CDs line up with 127 and 1618 extension levels. You notice that this 127.2 level lines up nicely with this AB equals CD target. We also have a cute little AB equals CD that is playing out just off of. We actually had one of our site members, Da Vinci, and actually we had Da Vinci on the show recently, didn't we? He actually took the tools that I teach, and he really studied them closely. And I think I've told you guys about this before. But he found that if you ever find a situation where Willie and the OBV happen to put in W's at the same time, these are very powerful momentum, price momentum, and volume momentum signals. So we were in the lounge last night putting out actually, I don't tweet it, mostly in the lounge for members. We got a Davo. And look at the end result of the Davo. Like, talk about action, right? You guys know about my love affair for M's and W's. So hopefully everybody in the audience, hopefully everybody in the audience can see the very well-defined W's in both the Willie and OBV. And that translated into one hell of a rally. And that often happens, right? There's a very powerful momentum signal. Having said that, I think what we have to be cognizant of the fact that markets never move in a straight line forever. That trade is now getting a little old. And so we have to sort of keep an eye on, we might get another dabble coming in here. You can see the W and W. Maybe we're going to push higher. But upside expectations, considering we have both of these harmonics coming in here, that's a big 127. And what I'm a little concerned about on the profile is I don't see a lot of new buying coming in on this push higher. And you can see just based off of from last night and through today, this range, most of the buying is here. And so what I'm kind of, what I've been sort of suggesting to my people is, I think, we're going to have to consolidate here and, just trail your fib, whatever the ultimate high is. But 38.2 first stop target works really well as sort of a bounding tool. So this is basically what I'm suggesting in the short term. About 830, 840 on the futures are our upside, and 780 is our downside. And we're just sort of playing in this area now after a nice, powerful momentum signal. So that's sort of short term what we're thinking right now. Make sense?
Makes sense to me. We had a couple of people asking about your classes on chat, so I figured I'd fill them in.
I hate to say it, guys, but we're pretty booked up. I've got 3 seats left for the Wednesday at 11 a.m. PST session. Monday's totally sold out.
There you go, Sam. Got to take off of work on Wednesday.
No, well, that's 11 o'clock Pacific time. You know what? Where the tip that is our European session, so it's like 7 in the evening for the Europeans. But unfortunately, yeah, that North American session it's sold out. If you really are interested and you sweet talk me, I'll keep you on the sidelines. If you want to reach out to me, pop on over to the site. People are constantly popping in here and leaving me messages and stuff. If you want to come on just as a guest, and we even have a public chat room, come in, just maybe leave me a message. Hey, Brian, I want to talk to you, whatever. By all means, I'm more than happy to work with you. And if any of those people that are on the reservation list bail, then you get first grab at the seat if it becomes available.
And it sounds like the chat, like a lot of your students are kind of knowledgeable and they're willing to kind of share what they've learned as well. So
yeah, well, and that's I'm a huge fan of this PMA, right? Positive mental attitude. That's so important to me. So as a result, the chat room is it should be a fun place to come to. It should be a welcoming place. And what I find is that actually a lot of students that do well, they actually feel like they want to give back. And then we also get into, especially when the market gets really hot, we get this 1 + 1 = 3. We're all looking at the same things. We're all hunting Davos. We're all doing RLZs. We're all looking for divergences. So, when the chat room gets hopping, we got like the ideas coming right, left, and center. It's so fucking awesome. Excuse my French. Sorry. Whoops.
Well, I'm sold.
It's worth it. I
wish I had more damn time to come hang out in your chat, Brian.
Well, and what's really cool is, anybody that takes all 3 programs, they are automatically grandfathered on the site. So it's so cool. Like, we've got guys that are now actually running crypto funds out there in the world, and and you're invited to classes indefinitely. They pop in every now and again, like I'll do a class on options or writing covered calls or whatever, and they want to just refresh and try and remind themselves of the basics, and it's great. People are popping in that I haven't seen in a couple of years. I love the fact that we've got people all over the world. It's beautiful. In fact, I used to live in LA, and now I've got a guy who's basically got a satellite out of LA where we've got like a little cult down in LA, and I literally have no choice. I have to go back to LA now. It's gonna be fine. It's great returning to LA.
Hey, if I can say one thing, and I've sat in a couple classes. Granted, it was a while ago, but Brian, if he doesn't know something, he'll let everybody know. And as far as crypto is concerned, he look at the interactions. Pardon me, with Alex. Brian just wants to know more, and he wants to spread that knowledge to you. Once he learns something, he'll send it down the chain. So it's not like one of those sign up and I'm going to profess that I know more than I really do and da 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 da. So it's yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I tell all of my students that you're never going to stop learning. 25 years into this, I'm always learning new stuff. And I know my wife, she's visited me from the other side, and she said, Brian, you're going to do great. You can really help people, but you've got to listen. Oh, when she told me that, I was like, oh, man. That's how I knew it was her, and it wasn't some sort of dream that I dreamed of. But anyway, that's sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent.
Well, so I'm married, so that never leaves you, hey?
No, it's basically
the stern wife talk. I mean,
it is, and one could argue. In fact, I was even talking to someone today. What's actually happening now, and I should probably come off camera because I'm talking to you guys here. What's actually happening now is that the school has served its purpose, in that TRI has fairly robust trading accounts now, and we've I mean, hell, just you see the little crypto account, we've got stock accounts, we've got anyway, blah 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 blah. There really isn't a need for me to teach anymore, and yet what's actually happening is now the demand for this stuff is just coming out of the woodwork. I can't even keep up. So I'm not giving you guys the hard sell here. If you like my approach, awesome. But my approach is all about PMA for the win. And as long as I keep approaching it from that and respecting the fact, and I'll make it completely honest to you guys, I will not build myself as a crypto expert. I do know a thing or two about trading and about managing yourself and keeping yourself honest and keeping yourself in a position where you can always come back and play the game tomorrow. And that's the kind of stuff that I impart on people. I'm never going to bill myself as a crypto expert, that's for sure.
Well, I can say definitely you're a crypto expert to some people. There's no question on that. Just having dealt with, I mean, just back to what I was saying earlier, I mean, meeting with, folks, in your age range, Brian, I mean, they're coming from traditional capital markets and the stock exchange, and they're interested in this, but they don't know where the heck to begin. And so, I've been pointing them towards your class, and
thanks, man.
So, hopefully you get, a couple more there, but it's just really interesting to see, 2 years ago, as far as Coinigy was concerned, it was people like, myself and Rob and Alex mainly. And now we're kind of starting to see this little bit of an evolution where kind of what I would consider an outsider, they're kind of getting interested in it. And it's a positive uptick.
Yeah. And what's really cool is we built all the tools, all the positive karma. We got great, I mean, Will, you're a fucking awesome guy, man. Alex, I mean, I am so privileged to just be able to interact with you guys. I mean, we're building a karma powerhouse here. I love it, and that's, we come from a good place. We're honest people. We're hardworking people. We give you the straight goods. And this is the kind of stuff, ironically enough, this is the kind of stuff that kind of what we're seeing out of Brexit, what we're seeing out of this US election. People have had enough with the corporate bullshit, the one-liner, right? Like you made reference earlier to with sort of what the typical spiel is, about people that teach this. I think our approach here is very different. And kind of the whole reason why we're interested in crypto to begin with, right, is we're rewriting the framework of how this society should work.
Yeah, it's I mean, every day I kind of wake up in the morning and I go, all right, so what's gonna happen now? It's
Well, there's that
uncharted
too.
territory. It really is
Yeah.
uncharted territory.
The
So
space seems to move in in a faster time. Yeah, like a week in crypto is a month in the regular world. Like you talk like a quarter is a year. Like so much seems to happen here. Like and 2016 by no exception is been the craziest year in crypto so far with everything that's gone on. Like
right, I didn't think 2015 could be topped, and go figure.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they say you can't write straight better fiction than reality, right? I think that each of these cycles has its own sort of nuances. Do you guys remember the Litecoin, the Ponzi, right, with all that back last year?
Hmm.
This year it was Ethereum, and next year it's going to be some. We can't even imagine the story that's going to be.
Next year it'll be Ubik.
It's going to be Alex is taking over the world with Jumbox.
So you just you wait. I'll have some more information for you guys soon. But
He's
Hey,
already
so I'm
taking over
sorry
the
to chime in, but we should probably jump to that wheel. We got about 30 minutes left here.
Okay. Did we do Bitcoin justice? I think I gave you my higher time frame perspective and a lower time frame perspective. Cool.
I think so.
All right. And we threw in a little quick peek at Decred, and we talked a little bit about Zcash. So we don't really, if they come up on the wheel, I don't think we have to hit them. Just in summary, the Zcash, I don't have any signs of a bottom here yet. But I did hear people saying that I thought 0.25 was supposed to be some sort of value. Now we're at 0.07. So I don't know where the hell the bottom on this thing is.
yeah,
This is the futures, though. You remember last show, Alex, you said that the futures had tried to find a bottom at 0.25, was it? Something like that?
and right now the futures market is kind of separate from the rest of the Poloniex market. So I think they're implementing at the end of November. It's called fair market pricing, so they'll actually be linked at that point. So you're going to see like much more liquidity on BitMEX in terms of trying to find like the actual price in the floor, and they're going to kind of have this
So this is
conversion.
at 0.128 right now, and the futures are at 0.07. So I guess they're still a little bit negative, eh?
Well, and I'll draw a comparison here between Decred and Zcash. Like they both have the same economic policy. They just had different launches. Where you're talking about the same as Bitcoin. 50 Bitcoins every 10 minutes, and then it halves every 4 years. So again, you got to look at this like the long term. But Zcash has a slow start mining where it's like there's almost no coins being created at the very start of the month. By the end of the month, we're going to be at full production. Whereas Decred, they did an airdrop, so they gave away a lot of coins. So they wanted a liquid market right from the beginning. They wanted the sell and buy side, whereas Zcash had no sell side.
Was that done as sort of an experiment? Did anybody really know what was going to happen when they did that?
Everything's experimental.
Gosh, yeah, definitely experimental. I think a lot of people kind of, or at least in my discussions, a lot of people knew what was going to happen. It was going to draw this crazy wick, and it was going to bleed down lower and lower and lower. The interesting side of it has really been mining. Like people, it's been like an arms race of people building miners.
It's awesome. I like just hanging out on the Jumbuck Slack. I mean, people are busting out mining rigs again. That's awesome. It's been so long.
Trying to
mine to see it again.
And Google, I just saw an article today. They're building a new data center with specifically having GPUs, which is normally what is doing all like the video game graphics for people. It's kind of like a separate card in most people's desktops and PCs. And the reason they're doing a whole data center is they're saying machine learning and a lot of these like simulations and stuff require it. But I think what Amazon knows, what AMD knows, what all these companies know, they see a huge surge in usage in GPUs, and it's because mining is so profitable. So if they They aren't saying it, but they definitely know.
There's got to be ulterior motives.
Do you think they're mining themselves?
Maybe, I don't know, but I think
Are you talking about their cloud services kind of thing?
Well, this is a little different than what's it called? Than like ASICs, like when these companies that produce machines that just mine Bitcoin. There's been a lot of kind of shenanigans with them coming to the customer used. They've been, mining with them a little bit and then sending them out, and they're hell of a lot more efficient. Where these are just like consumer level cards, like people build gaming computers. These are the cards they buy. But people are buying, 6 of them and putting them on a computer to mine. When AMD puts a new card out and they get like all these orders, they know that they're going to miners. Like that's the reason why AMD is doing so well.
That's interesting. And do you actually see? Because I do, some of my site users. In fact, I know one guy, Chaba. He was really bullish on AMD. So I wonder, it would be really interesting to see in sort of AMD's AGM whether they make any reference to the sales and any reference to crypto and mining. That would be really interesting. But look at that damn stock, eh? I mean, so how much can we attribute that to increased demand for video game and video gaming versus actual mining hardware? Is that what you're saying? Is that maybe a lot of demand for their product is coming from the actual crypto miners?
It's definitely a piece of the pie. Like, okay, so I ran calculations a couple of months ago that the Ethereum network probably had 250,000 graphics cards running on it. And now with the launch of Zcash, about half of those, like Ethereum lost half of its power to Zcash because it's more profitable to mine Zcash. And now, like with us going back to proof of work with Jumbucks, we're hoping to capture some of that market too. So, it's going to be profitable, I think, to mine with GPUs for quite a while because there's now all these independent networks that are all going to have a demand for kind of this computing power in order, because it directly correlates to security, right? So we at Jumbucks, we want to have a lot of people mining our coins. So there's 2 ways we can do that. We can build our own miners or maybe pay. There's a lot of like rental services now, like people are building their own data centers just for the purposes of mining and renting it out. Or we can have a higher price coin, so we're the most profitable to mine. So right now you can have like your gaming computer run and make a couple dollars a day, and you're gonna pay a fraction of that in hydro. So you could heat your house with mining power right now, and this is what happened back in like 2011, 2012 with Bitcoin when you could do it on, regular hardware. People were like heating their house with it, and I got some old Litecoin miners in my house right now, and I'm not making much of a profit on it, but I'm like, it's subsidized heating, rather than pay for like having I got a little lamp thing to heat my house, but I never use it because the miners are heating my house.
That's funny. All right, cool. Okay, we should probably hit that wheel.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Crazy wheel.
I think we talked a lot about Zcash and Decred and all those. So if they come up, then we can respin. All right, Will, have you got the wheel? Have I got the wheel? Who's doing it?
I have the wheel. Let's see. Present. Can you guys see the wheel?
I see the wheel.
All right, here we go.
And it was interesting, before tonight's broadcast, Alex had made reference that it's thinned out a little bit. And I think
Decred.
But I
think we're going to have a do-over here.
Is that, I mean, do I need to go back over that? Everybody's heard my spiel on that.
I think we're good. We're going to do-over here.
Trading range, bottom of trading range, trading range.
And
Ant shares. So this is.
I heard it. Somebody mentioned this, and they said that if you mention this, you also have to mention something else too, right?
Yeah, I saw that as well. Let me pull up the tweet here.
What's the symbol?
ANS.
ANS?
Yes, people have been making jokes.
I don't see a U.
Looks kind of heavy.
Yeah, I think somebody actually fat fingered the first candle. That was
We've seen a lot of these zero candles. It's so bizarre.
like someone didn't know what they were doing and they sold all the way down to like 80 satoshis.
Well, if we pull up a 12-hour chart, I don't see that. What are the so it's only listed on Bittrex, so that's a bit of a concern unto itself. That's $8 million market cap. Okay. So
yep, this was an ICO. Yeah.
So when you see that, then what that tells me is there's enough vested interest here not to be concerned about Bittrex kind of stuff. I suppose at the very least, we're probably going to need some more, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I
feel like it's on another exchange, though. I think it's on a Chinese exchange that maybe you guys don't have on Coinigy.
Coinigy's broken.
Youngby or something. I'll have to look.
Okay, no big deal. All right, so there's our 12-hour chart. People ask me, like I said, I'm not a crypto expert, so people ask me my technical opinion. Not a hell of a lot I can tell you about this, folks. The range itself is relatively small. You can see how when we come down and we kiss the bottom end of the range here, kind of like a hot stove, right? We touched it and, jerk knife back. I don't like the fact that we've broken lows, right? Because that just simply means that supply is overwhelming demand. When I just do very simple projections, this might take us below zero, who knows? No, actually it doesn't. That's surprising. So, just very simple projections, we're starting to point down into this area down here. I suppose, if we do extensions, yeah. So, and then basically this breakdown is going to take us down into this extension window here. So, I mean, half the time people ask me, not half the time, I'd say probably 80–90% of the time when people ask me my opinion, it's not going to be oh my God, I got to go out and buy it. So, when I see this, I'm going to need, they keep in mind, this is only a 12-hour chart. If I look at the daily chart, I just don't have enough data to work with here, right? And Alex is saying maybe don't trust this first candle. It looks to me like they're playing against the low end of this range. Those traders out there, I don't see a reason why you can't hunt long setups off the bottom of this range, just like that happened in there. But, investors, I don't have anything here to technically justify me getting interested yet.
So it is on some other exchanges. Here, I'll share my screen.
Hey, just to chime in, they said if you're checking out Ant shares, check out its staked counterpart, Ant Credits. I don't know what the symbol is, though.
Oh, yeah, because it's like a token network. Like, that's part of why I think some people are bullish on it. I think they have some connections to some Chinese financial institution, and that's why I'm bringing up the screen here. It's on 2 of the major Chinese exchanges, and it's actually carrying a lot more volume on Yongbao. I hear a lot of things about Yunbi too. You guys should probably look at adding those 2 to Coinigy if possible.
Yeah, we've been kind of lagging on the new exchange additions recently. We got to get back on the horse there.
No, I definitely recommend Yunbi. They've been doing some cool stuff with the Ethereum ICOs and stuff.
Okay, so what do you think we should do here, guys?
I feel pretty confident about it. Like, I think that there's a good story behind it in terms of Chinese financial institutions. But yeah, being that it is an ICO and the season that we're in, like, there's probably going to be a shakeout. I think it is hovering somewhere around ICO. I think actually that's probably that kind of middle band you're seeing there of pricing. where there's probably a very large volume profile that we can't see. And I imagine that we're going to kind of bounce around that, and there will be a little bit of shaking out. So that AB equals CD line that you have might be what you want to look at for buying. But yeah, it's
I could see it just sort of swoon here, right? You know, something along the lines of like that big saucer bottom.
There's good news on the horizon, though. I feel pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, for the keep in mind, there just isn't that much time here. So calling bottoms on these kind of things is inherently dangerous anyway. I tell you what, for those people that are interested, if the Coinigy boys, I'm not quite sure why this isn't working. If the Coinigy boys do get those Oriental exchanges on board, we'll take another look at it next episode.
Consider it done.
Okay. But the data right here at the very best, we're range bound, bottom of the range, top of the range. There are gaps up top, so all you trader sharks, you start to see bullish setups, momentum divergences, structure, whatever. You can start hunting your long shots, but on balance, the fact that we probed lower through these lows and basically set precedent down here, that's not technically a good sign.
Oh, well. Should we jump onto another wheel?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Present. Might hear some background noise here.
No dogs, at least.
Factum.
FCT. And this is kind of like the darlings. Remember we started off the show, you guys were kind of like, wow, the mood out there isn't very happy right now, is it?
At least among the blue chips.
I beg your pardon?
At least among like the kind of the blue chip alts, like this one and Ethereum are kind of the big dogs that kind of trade correlation with Bitcoin.
Blue chip altcoins. There's got to be some sort of oxymoron there.
The brown chip? I don't know.
I'm just playing with you, Alex. I had put out warnings that I had, very much like we just saw that other coin. I'm a big fan of harmonics. I'm kind of thinking we need to stab down into these lows. People don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. And maybe even if we go boogity boop, let's maybe change this color to yellow. And we'll clone that. So you can start to see sort of projection window down here. So looking at hunting for bottoms, I'm kind of thinking somewhere down in this zone down in here, which kind of sucks. I'm sure people are looking at that going, oh, fucking hell. And if we just do our good old reload zone, right? The good part about this is, and if anything, I think this is a great analogy of sort of my story. You guys ever heard me talk about them, taking the fluff out of the market? I think this is exactly what's going on here. And unfortunately, with this big honking tail down here, oh boy, that scares me. But on balance, I like the idea of the market working its way down in here. You guys have heard me talk lots about the line in the sand. So you can
time or two.
Yeah, I could easily see, this line in the sand now acts as a pivot for this market going forward. And, the sad part about it, anybody who bought this thing up here, this is a perfect opportunity to book the capital loss and maybe offset gains in Ethereum or something that you had somewhere else, or now maybe gains in Bitcoins that you had to deal with. So, nobody wants to hear a negative story, but it looks very much to me like this thing's still working its way lower. I'm sorry, guys. Anything else to report here? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, in crypto. I wouldn't be surprised if this tail has to be revisited. Let's see if Polo's got this tail. Yeah, Polo doesn't. I'm actually, and this is an interesting commentary on Polo versus BitterX. I am noticing when I first started in the crypto world, Polo used to have all the nasty tails, and Bitrex used to be clean. And now I've actually seen that switch around a little bit. So you remember Alex, he bought all his Factum in here, made a big pile of money. Way to go, Alex. Probably a fantastic analogy here of, the market isn't going to go up forever. Very well defined M top here. This is stuff, guys, you're watching this video. Take this to the bank. This shit works. So not a big surprise when we saw the M that sort of marked the end of the rally. I suppose one other thing that's jumping out at me when we look at this higher time frame is I don't really like this here to here, and then this guy down into here. I don't know whether that takes us into negatives. Yeah, it does. So I don't know whether that's really relevant. But
hey, I'm curious. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Alex, as far as Factum is concerned, it's kind of like a smart contract platform, right?
No, I think it's more kind of a data validation type of thing. So what they're hoping to do is have these servers, which have everyone's kind of like government information. So like, I don't know, kind of census information, your social security type stuff. And since it's validated by hashing it into the Bitcoin blockchain, like they're kind of time stamping and say, yes, like you make this much per year. You can then calculate things like your social or your Medicare or whatever. Like Paul Snow, the lead developer.
I understand. So it's like an immutable record of anonymous public data or something.
Yeah, it's basically gonna make the DMV a hell of a lot better, because now like all the government information services can all be kind of done in a way that the information can be updated across the board. You're not going to have states that are kind of behind the curveball or whatever, because everyone can have like the most up-to-date data. You can see when it's been kind of all validated.
Gotcha. I wonder why there wasn't a big run-up to like this year's election.
They actually just launched their their test net or something. So I think at that point they're actually going to start.
Oh, so we're still in beta.
Oh yeah, like there's a long way to
Alpha.
go, and maybe even after they launch, at that point they're going to be producing. So there's going to be more Factum coming on the market. Right now, it's basically just a fixed asset. These are just ICO funds that are trading back and forth.
Yeah, so remember we did that symmetry study on IOC years ago. I don't know whether you guys remember that or not. It almost looks to me like this is a middle point pivot, and we're going to get a mirroring on either side of this pivot of what we see. And that actually sort of validates your thesis if we're going to see more supply, and it's going to turn into a data tracking vehicle rather than a capital gains loss vehicle.
Well, it might not be that like Factum is worth less in dollar value. It's just that if Bitcoin goes up in price, Factum tends to trace along dollar levels. And I've made good money on Factum seeing Bitcoin do a major move and Factum lag. So seeing like you can see that last string of red candles there. There was where the big drop there, yeah, with that nasty wick down. If you overlay Bitcoin on that, you'll see there's a solid like like a 1 hour bar where Factum didn't drop yet, and Bitcoin had already moved like 10%. So like Factum, immediately seeing that, I shorted Factum, knowing that it was going to correlate and kind of lock down to a new pricing level to kind of lock in its dollar value. So like, yeah,
so we could have Bitcoin work its way up to this bought level here, and just to stay level, Factum's got to probably make another sort of push lower here, right?
Yeah, like I'd really like to see Factum. If you pull it up against US dollar, you'll see it kind of.
How do you do that? Is that your Bitmix?
No, I think Poloniex has a USD market for it, don't they? Maybe I pulled it up on trading.
Maybe I have to go FCT USD. Is that right? No.
No, I think what I usually do when I'm on Coinigy is I just pull up a compare line and I kind of draw my own assumptions. I don't actually have the actual lineup, but
I mean, just simply put, anecdotally, everybody watching this, right? Lower highs and lower lows defines a bear. Lower low,
Hey, if they
lower
had a
low,
USD market, though, we would have picked it up.
yeah, let me check to see what's going on.
And really, we've seen Bitcoin making higher lows and higher highs, so I could see the direct correlation. That doesn't surprise me. And seasonally too, perfectly fine for this thing to work its way down against these original. Look at all these tails right in here, eh? Wicks and tails like to be eaten. They got all these juicy tails sitting right down in here.
Yeah, right now Factum's at $2, almost exactly, or just above $2. It does have a pairing with the Chinese yen or yuan.
And that would be interesting because the yuan kind of has moved down in the same pace as the Bitcoin has moved up, eh? So I wonder how that would work. I wonder if Factum in Chinese yuan would stay stable.
You should try drawing your bot lines on something like Huobi, Brian, because if we can assert that, a majority of supply or trading maybe happens in China, that you get a truer value of what the global price of a Bitcoin is worth compared to the rest of the world,
Well, it's interesting. We have one site member in particular, Loic, who was over in France. And he follows some international indexes. He doesn't really follow any Bitcoin and US dollar because that's meaningless to him. And in all of these other currencies and indexes and stuff, the volumes are just surging. So I thought that was really interesting. It's only versus the US dollar. And what we have to understand is what the fuck is going on with the US dollar? Oh, it turns out the US dollar is in a face rip up as well. So it's a really interesting times we live in here, boys. So, all right. So I think we've given our due to Factum. Unfortunately, no pound the table buy. And my hunch is if we look at all the internals, they probably all look relatively weak here. Yeah, volume heading down, momentum trying to put in a divergence. That's encouraging. Overbought, oversold. No signs of stupidity here. So we are seeing the smatterings of the end of the bear, but that's all we can say right now is just smatterings. Okay.
All right, wheel time. I already have
one of my state members is really bullish on FTC recently.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You do? Okay, I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, it broke new lows the other day, but this is a Litecoin clone, which Litecoin is already making some new lows, and
I don't see much to get excited about there, eh?
I believe he's mining it too, so I think he's
he's slightly biased, eh?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, I'm interjecting, and it's wheel time.
Yeah,
wheel time. I gotta put my dinner in the oven. Hold on.
ZCL.
All right, I will kind of explain this while Brian is
That's okay, I'm back. Hey, but go ahead, Alex. Tell us the story.
Okay, so ZCL is Z Classic or Zcoin or Zcash Classic. So,
oh jeez. I think we already mentioned that one, right?
But is this a fork or something?
No, well, yeah, it's a fork per se. They basically are not doing the slow start mining. And they are, you'll want to look at it on a CSEX. You'll get a little more history because it just got on Bittrex yesterday. But they basically cut out the slow start mining and they cut out the 20% that's going to the developers. So they're like, oh yeah, it's everything you could ever want. There's no.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody pasted that tweet in Jumbucks.
So it's fairly profitable to mine, but they're producing I think 40 BTC worth of Z Classic every day, which if they don't have investors, who's buying it? But I think it's just more miners are holding it. And compared to Zcash, it is absolutely stable. Like I think it's been hovering around $4 to $6, and even against Bitcoin, I guess it's holding steady. But it's kind of funny.
Oh, that's
it has
a nice
about
chart.
Yeah, that looks slightly finessed.
yeah. But with regards to Ethereum Classic and Ethereum,
I don't think you're going to get much out of that one, Brian.
Okay.
The ratio is about 15% hash rate to the mainstream one, and the same thing is true for Z Classic as well. It's about 15%. So it's kind of funny that there is that kind of relative hash rate of each network. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they can actually pull something off. My only bullish indicator on this right now is how many shenanigans happen at the end of this first month. Because what I've learned about Zcash is the founders reward, the 20% of mining rewards that go to the investors and the developers, they get paid out once a month. So they're getting their coins at the end of this month. Are they going to dump them all in the market? Like, it will be interesting to see what happens when that 20% of supply is released to these people who basically paid millions of dollars to fund the creation of this coin. And if they kind of abuse that power, you're going to see a lot of people are like, well, this is an outrage. You know what? We're going to go with Z Classic. Z Classic is the one we want to go with, you know? And so that's kind of my only indication of something to watch on this. If you start hearing a lot of shenanigans or, you know, FUD, as we'll call it, about Zcash, when that payout happens, then this one could do some more interesting stuff. But the short term, it's just going to be kind of minor dumps. And
they just floated this thing just recently, though, eh? You know, when I look at this, to me, what this says is, you know, you just got to leave it alone and let it find its floor.
Again, you know, though, if you have a GPU, like a gaming computer, even some laptops have a reasonable amount of power, that you can be mining this right now and be getting a couple dollars a day.
Okay.
Maybe not you, Brian. I don't know.
All right. You know, I suppose trading wise, we can see this potential fractal here. I don't think it should surprise us that basically, you know, if this is a bull, we're going to get back up through this fractal high. And you can see day after day after day, they tried to push it up there and they just couldn't, eh? And then if we go down to the lower time frame, all you crazy traders out there, there is that level, eh? And, you know, you guys should know this. If this was, say, like a futures product, right, hourly chart, and guys were in the pits, they would actually actively short against those highs. That's kind of what we saw with Bitcoin, right? There are guys that will actually strap shorts on this gap fill here, and anticipating that this thing breaks really hard. I think that's basically what you saw here, right, is there were guys that took short shots against the top here, and the demand for this thing just wasn't enough to push it up through the top. They really tried to on this bar right here. They did, what, 2,000 coins? I guess that's relatively heavy. I don't know. That was on the gap higher here. So it'd be interesting if there was some sort of fundamental news or something about this.
That was the Bittrex listing.
Oh, was it? Okay, so there you go. So they're listing it on Bitrex, and then they're hoping to see some follow through, and there just wasn't anything that was on the other side of that. Right?
Yeah, I think on Bittrex the high that it got was 90,000 or.
Oh, so that's there, right in there.
Yeah.
They look about the same. Okay, yeah. So in essence, what ended up happening here then, right, is they probably ramped it up on the rumor of the Bitrex news. Then they sort of lull before the storm. Then it rallied into that. All the guys that bought on the anticipated pump, they you know, hopped off up in here probably partially, and then there just wasn't any buying on the other side, and it's rolled over.
Oh, you know, rigged.
Man, what a shock, eh? market structure-wise, we really don't want to see the market move through these lows in earnest. And you can see this one candle right here. They punched it through that low there, so that's not encouraging. Higher highs and higher lows, where we've got a situation now of lower highs and lower lows. I suppose, traders out there who wanted to take a shot off the lows, where should you start thinking? Reload zone is always a good place to start. So really you can't even think about buying until it gets down into here. And what does that really mean? Well, we've got that low there that might defend you. And then, of course, this is the original double bottom down in here. Is this something that I would be even remotely interested in? Maybe if we got down into here. You can see the market is washed out. It's trying to put in some sort of divergence. So if you got some sort of big panic dump into here, you might be able to trade that for a nice profit. There's a little bit of a gap right there. See that little gappy gap? That's probably going to be a significant resistance point going forward. So if you did trade it down in here, look to be taking profits up in this area, at least part profits. Because there isn't that much data to work with, I certainly can't make any comment about quote-unquote investing. If anything, at best, this is just a trader's vehicle right now. So be light on your toes, take your shots off of these lows. You can see on this dump here, all they did was they came and eat this tail here, eh? See that? And that, and then like Alex said, probably the word of the Bitrex listing was started to disseminate here, which bid the price up, bit of a vacuum on the news event. What's the follow through? What's the reason for me to be a buyer of this now? So you're going to need some sort of fundamental justification to see this thing turn back out.
Right on.
The Polo listing, who knows? Right?
Who knows? Well, on that note,
how are we doing on time?
We're at the time. It is time.
Well, did you enjoy it? I had a fun time. Wow, that time went quick, didn't it?
I enjoyed it.
Sure did.
How about those users out there? Those viewers?
All right.
Good deal. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So thanks everybody for...
break out? That's the question. Come on, Bitcoin!
I'm surprised you didn't actually influence that during the show.
Oh, yeah, right. But I thought it was really interesting that, in fact, we'll end the show off of this. Ready, guys? Watch this. This is fun. What is that?
It's like the handle of some sort of drinking instrument.
Is that a bullish setup or a bearish setup? If we can break through the top, oh boy. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, we're all very hopeful. We'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be, and keep in mind, right, the bot levels, 912, that's what the bot wants. So let's see if we can get that 900 level.
Good deal. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to take liberty and wrap her up here. So thanks, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Brian. Thank you, Alex. And
holy, look at all these messages that came in here.
New school members.
Yeah, well, and before we go, my name is Brian Beamish, therationalinvestor.co. Follow me on Twitter at CRInvestor. And I look forward to interacting with you. If you have any questions, feel free to pop on the site just like these people are. And after the show tonight, I'll be sitting, chatting, and answering questions. So.
Good deal. And what about you, Alex? Anywhere we can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at block_talk. If you want to watch some of my interviews, go to youtube.com/blocktalk. And I'll have probably something coming up in the next week or so. We'll see how my other projects go. But, yeah, I look forward to, if you got anyone you want interviewed, a coin you want to learn more about, shoot me a message.
Hey, I'll tell you, Alex, don't do any free work for that Bang to the Future guy. Get him to pay you.
Okay.
I didn't like the fact that he was like, oh, I'm going to use you as my free source for D&D. And I was like, you got to pay, Alex.
Oh, that's why I got sponsors, Brian.
Okay, all right.
So on that note, I'm gonna take liberty here, and I think we're. Forget to check Coinigy. Our best to catalog each and every trade out there in the ecosystem, and don't forget to like and subscribe in case you want to get notified of our next show, which will tentatively be 2 weeks from tonight at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And what is that, like 7 p.m.?
6 p.m. Pacific.
6 p.m. Pacific. There we go.
And Marty's here saying hi, so hi, Marty. This is so cool. I'm talking to, oh, look at that.
What's up, Marty? So all right, well, thanks for watching, guys. And we will say happy trails for now. And until next time.
Bye-bye. Happy trading. Obey your trading plans.